when life interrupts your podcast, and those interruptions will come. Welcome back to the Podcast Why. I'm Brett Johnson, my podcast guy, your trusted friend in podcasting. The show is here to help you reconnect with the real why behind your podcast so you can keep showing up with clarity and confidence. This is Season 5, Sustaining Your Why Over the Long Game, and it's built for the podcaster who's been at it for a while and needs to stay in it. We're going to cover the evolution of the why, the comparison trap, natural podcasting seasons, guest strategy, using listener feedback as a strategic mirror, navigating life interruptions, and closing with the recommitment review framework. Well, this is episode 6, and we're going to cover navigating life's interruptions. Let's talk about something that every long-term podcaster is going to face, and very few are prepared for when it happens. Life interrupts your podcast. A health crisis, a business pivot, a family emergency, a season of overwhelming work, a move, a loss. Something arrives, unexpected or not, and the podcast, which felt like a non-negotiable part of your week, suddenly doesn't fit the way it used to, or it fits at such a cost that keeping it going feels impossible. I've worked with podcasters through all these situations, and what I've seen over and over is that the interruption itself is rarely the real problem. The real problem is how podcasters respond to it. Specifically, the shame and guilt that follow when the show goes quiet and the paralysis that can set in when they try to figure out how to come back. The podcasters who come through these seasons most intact, who maintain their audience's trust and their own connection to the work, aren't the ones who push through no matter what. They're the ones who handle the interruption with honesty, intention, and a clear anchor in their podcast why. Here's what I've seen work across many different kinds of interruptions and many different types of shows. First, give yourself permission to stop without treating it as an ending. A pause is not a failure. A reduced publishing schedule is not abandonment. If something significant has arrived in your life and the podcast needs to take a backseat temporarily, say so to yourself first and then to your audience if appropriate. Honesty with your listeners builds more trust than silence does. Second, stay connected to your podcast why, even when you're not producing. I've worked with podcasters who, during difficult seasons, would spend 5 minutes a week simply reading their podcast why statement and thinking about one listener who needed to hear their next episode. They didn't record, they didn't publish, but they kept the thread. And when they came back with clarity rather than confusion. And third, don't let the gap become the story. I've worked with podcasters who returned from an involuntary break and spent 3 episodes processing the break, apologizing, explaining, justifying. Meanwhile, their listeners just wanted the show back. A brief, honest acknowledgement is enough. Then get back to the work your podcast why called you to do. The best time to prepare for a life interruption is before it arrives. In past seasons of this podcast, we've talked about systems, batching, topic banks, production checklists. Those systems aren't just efficiency tools, they're resilience tools. A batch of episodes recorded in advance gives you a buffer when life gets hard. A clear topic bank means you can step away for a month and come back without having to reinvent your content plan from scratch. Think of it this way. Your podcast why is the reason you come back. Your systems are what make the comeback easier. And your audience, the people who keep showing up, they want you to keep going, not because you owe them perfection or consistency at any cost, but because what you're building actually matters to them. That's worth protecting, even through the hard seasons, especially through the hard seasons. You can book a clarity call with me. Just head over to my podcast guy online and look for the Book a Clarity Call link. We'll map your podcast why to your business and your business to your podcast so it all feels coherent. Thanks for listening to the Podcast Why. I'm Brett Johnson, my podcast guy, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.